Today's pottery video is going to be about making some garden decorations, more like garden stakes. So I'm going to do a few different things. I've done some prep work. I rolled out a slab and I've cut a couple shapes. I have a square and a circle. And I'm making these sort of size for smaller planters. This is the kind of project you can scale up to any size you like or down to any size you like. This is just what I got out of the slab I rolled. And of course there's so many variations of these, but here's a couple fun little projects. The first one I'm going to do the circle. And this one I used this lid to cut a circle out. And it is, let's see, just over 4 inches in diameter, 10.5 centimeters. What we're going to do is we're going to make this into a little owl. Here's a kind of a rough little demo I did just to wrap my brain around the process. So the first thing I'm going to do is down in this section, kind of from the center here, and it'll get covered up if you do a little extra, I'm going to do the feathers for the owl's chest, basically. So you can just go ahead and draw them with a wooden stick, a pencil. I find a pin tool too sharp for this. I have this lid that I'm going to try using, and I don't want to get the full circle, but I am going to see if I can get just kind of the bottom half. So I'm just holding it at a bit of an angle and pressing it in to create his feathers. I expect that should be enough to cover it up. And that's just using an old lid from a marker to make the circles. All right, so what I'm going to do to make the owl's wings is I'm going to take the sides and fold them into the center. Like that, like that. So yes, I have lots of space there. And then I'm going to lift it up and score it where I can see where it will touch. And pressing it down. I smoothed out more my edges before I got started. Of course, you can always do a little more. And then to do his head, I'm going to take this piece and fold it down, kind of right to the center as well. Now you can see how that's a little bit squared. I think I'm going to go back and curve my corners a touch more. Usually you get that curve from the circle. Maybe this is smaller than ones I've done in the past. But create a little bit more curve there. And again, I'm going to do some scoring. There, I like that a little better. And now to do his kind of his horns, I'm just going to pull these corners up, thinning that clay a little bit because it's awfully thick up here. And I don't like them to come to too much of a point. And there's your basic owl shape. I am going to add a beak. just actually the little clay that I carved off the top there. You can have his beak coming straight out. I'm going to make it more of a going down. So making it fairly flat, pointy on one end, kind of like a little drop of water, and putting it right there. And then his eyes, you can either, again, draw them freehand with a pointy stick or pencil or other slightly rounded tool. Or if you have found in your little box of fun things that you've been collecting to press into clay, I don't know if that's too big. I think that'll work. I don't even know what this is. Sometimes like the tip of a marker might work, but I think that one's a little too small. You could even use your marker lid again. I'm going to give him some really big eyes. And then add a few more. There's a few lines here. There we have a cool little owl. So now to make him fit on a garden stake, I'm going to take some extra clay here, roll it just into a sort of elongated piece here. Helps if you know what you're going to use as a garden stake ahead of time, but you can pick some like wooden skewers up, or just find a stick, and generally the end of a paintbrush is a good thing to use. So I'm just going to push this up inside, not all the way through, but you want to go up pretty far so the stake is well secured. And I like to flatten it on one side so it's not a round piece attaching to the back, it's flat. And you can go ahead and attach this now, which makes it a little tricky for firing because I have to balance it on here. So if you're going to attach it now, you might go ahead and flatten both sides so that when I put it in the kiln, it'll balance. If you want to leave that rounded, you can always make this and glue it on to the back later so it can fire flat or on a stilt and be glued on later. And then whatever your stick is using, what you're going to use for your garden stake, don't use it to make the hole because it will shrink and be too small. So if I'm going to use this to make the hole, then I can use something thinner, you know, to actually use as the garden stake. Or if you're using it to make the hole, go in and swirl it around so that it will fit once the clay shrinks after firing. So there's our first little project. You can also, you know, go ahead and give him more detail on his wings if you want, but I'll leave them like that for now. My second project with the square, it's one I've been wanting to try for a long time, is to make a little pinwheel. You know, those little things that spin around in the wind. So I have made this one. Let's see, it is 4.5 inches square, 11 centimeters. You can make yours any size. This one will be, again, fairly small for a smaller planter pot. So I also have made a little hole in the center so I know where that will be. And I'm going to use my ruler corner to corner and make some cuts, not all the way to the center, but pretty close. I'll stay 1/2 inch away from the center and cut that one the same. And then do the same on the other corner. If you want to add some decorations to these, this would be the best time to do that, as once you assemble it, it's harder to do the decorating. So let's see, I'll do something pretty simple. Okay, this is easy. I'm going to drive my motorcycle, make some stripes on this one, put some beads, make some dots. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold up 4 of the corners to the center. I'll scratch this one. And fold it up. Or she could always decorate the other side as well. I think I'll wait and decorate that with glaze. Score each of these. You can do something decorative into the center if you like. And smooth out your edges. My clay is pretty stiff. If you feel you need it, you could always put a little bit of paper or plastic to hold up these loops. I'm going to bend my tips up as well. And smooth these out. And there I have my pinwheel. And of course I will do another one of these for the back. Now if you actually want to make one that's going to spin, you would need to leave a hole all the way through here. Have a stick with a needle or a nail or something in it, and a way for it to spin. Maybe I'll try to do that. I think I will. I'm going to find my straw and put a hole in the center and see if I can't make one that actually spins. I wasn't thinking of doing that. I was just looking for something that would be colorful and decorative and whimsical and fun. But I will see if I can't make it actually spin. So there's a couple ideas, fun things to do. I'm going to leave this one on the board. There's my owl. And I did already make one. I think it's a little too big. So if you also want to do just with your, if you have some extra pieces of slab, I just took these and cut them the width of my little ruler here. And I'm going to cut them to have a bit of a point. And then I can decorate them as just pretty things, or I can use them and label them as different vegetables. These might be a little on the short side, but you could make them a little bit longer. Don't want them to be too delicate. But another way to make something decorative, write beans, tomatoes, whatever you like to plant, or if you have a, maybe you like to label your different plants in your garden, special kind of rows, so that visitors can know what it is. always an option. So anyway, think about some fun things for your garden. Of course, you can also do much bigger garden art things, bird baths, bird feeders. But these are just some fun little planter ideas.